Lauderdale Beach. This is the tail end of another very busy day at the National Senior Games, Bill. We had a lot of fun today.
It was a great game, a great day today, and here we are on the beach after all that activity, Mark, and there's only one thing that could ruin our day today. You know what it is?
I do know what it is. The weather, folks, is very, very ominous, so we have to make a quick exit. Our apologies up front, but we will post all of the great content that we have online if we do have to leave. Jason, give them a shot. Directly behind us, 180 degrees. Jason now is looking to the west, and there is a thunderstorm approaching, but it's drifting. I'm doing my best Amy Sweezy meteorologist right now.
That's a good one.
It is drifting to the south, so I think we're going to be okay. So let's get started, shall we?
We're going to check it out. As you swing back and take a look at us, you can see, I want to ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
So if you were planning the best vacation you've ever had in your life, would it maybe be on a cruise ship out there? A lot of people would say yes. But for the 12,000 athletes participating in 24 different sports, their answer would be their best vacation would be to be in Fort Lauderdale this week competing in the National Senior Games.
I've seen some of them on the beach, but I did feel a raindrop, so let's get going. In fact, let's start last night if we can, because we had a magical moment at the flame arrival ceremony, and as we've told you many times, the flame was carried in. The last carrier on the relay, on the flame relay, was Kathrine Switzer, who 55 years ago, back in 1967, at just 20 years of age, became the first woman to officially register and run the Boston Marathon. And after she was attacked on the course by a race official who said women didn't belong in a marathon, she became a symbol for women's rights. Since then, she's founded a global running initiative. She's created events in 27 countries for over 1 million female runners. Her efforts, in fact, helped lead to the women's marathon being added to the Olympics in 1984. She now runs a nonprofit initiative called 261 Fearless, because 261 was the bib number that was ripped off of her chest back in 1967. So she had a big night last night, and she got up early this morning. This is a woman, folks, who does not take it easy. She joined hundreds of men and women along Hollywood Beach for the 5K road race. And unlike the weather right now in Fort Lauderdale, the weather in Hollywood this morning was absolutely beautiful for a race right along the Atlantic Ocean. Kathrine is now 75 years old, folks. She runs daily. She competes on a regular basis, but few here actually know that they're competing alongside a true global icon. But Kathrine says she doesn't need the accolades. The obvious passion for the opportunity that she's created, what she sees in others, is all the reward that she needs. They may not know who Kathrine Switzer is, but I promise you every woman here has felt the impact of Kathrine Switzer. That has got to be a source of pride for you to know that you helped start this running movement globally.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I don't have children quite on purpose, and I always said, listen, every woman out there running is one of my children, and I always feel that. Even driving along in the car, I see a woman running, I say, yeah, she's one of mine. But the point is this, is we all need to carry the torch forward, and there's a lot to do in the world. There are a lot of people who have no opportunities, no health, and simple putting one foot in front of the other can get them miracles. And I'd like just to see everybody keep pushing that, men and women. And that's another thing that's great. Men have always been very supportive of us, male runners. And here are together. We don't really care about gender, race, or your income. Really, we're all here together to just make this happen.
Kathrine told us after the race that she's still recovering from a very bad case of shingles. In fact, she said everybody gets your vaccination, but she did run well today, 3 minutes faster than the 5K that she ran just 3 weeks ago in Boston. And she said, she only uses these races now to judge her current condition, her overall health and well-being. She's not trying to win a race. She's just trying to have a good time and see what else she needs to work on. And Bill, she said in that soundbite that we just listened to that every woman running is considered by her to be one of her children. That's got to be an amazing feeling.
It's almost hard to believe. I didn't know of her before you told me her story, and we had her on Growing Bolder. And it's hard to believe, Mark, that recently people doubted whether women could compete, whether they should work out, whether they could hold up to the rigors of what she's been doing her entire life. And you're right, because of her, because of what she did, symbolically, it kicked the door open for so many women to have the best lives that they could have had.
You make a good point. Most people don't know who Kathrine Switzer is, but everybody that runs, including this woman right here, Lynn Mixon, who is our producer, producing this incredible live broadcast from the beach. She runs every day, and I promise you, Lynn knows all about Kathrine Switzer and has been fangirling a good bit, as do all the women when they see, hey, that's Kathrine Switzer.
What would you think the ratio is? We talked about 12,000 athletes here. What do you think the ratio of men to women is?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer, but I would say that it's pretty even.
Pretty close to even.
It is pretty close to even, just by observation. But we'll ask Del Moon, the communications director for the National Senior Game, because he is the stat man.
So what I was thinking was, if there wouldn't have been no Kathrine Switzer, the National Senior Games would have been all men and had none of the excitement. Even the co-ed sports are fantastic to watch, and that's why we're here. We want you to see these incredible stories. We want you to know that you, this is for you. This is about you. This is about me. It's about what we can do to go out and earn our health instead of just hope for the best as we age.
You know, one interesting thing as I think about your question, more men than women, I do think that in the older age groups, there are more women than men. And I think that's primarily the result because women, as they age, are far more social than men. You know, this really is a reunion for them. You see groups of women, not so many groups of men. There's 2 men, 3 men, they come together, but there are gangs of women that show up here into their 70s and 80s and 90s and have a big time. In fact, we're going to show you some of the older pickleball players coming up, but I know you got something first.
Yeah, not only did Kathrine Switzer change lives by what she did, we met a bunch of guys today who believe that their sport can not only change lives, but it can save lives, and it actually did that recently. We're going on the volleyball court next, so stick with us.
Back live at Fort Lauderdale Beach in Florida for, I think this is day 3 of the National Senior Games. It goes until the 23rd. Mark Middleton with Bill Schaefer. Beauty shot right now, courtesy of our production director, Jason Morrow, who's the man behind the camera. We are still hoping that the rain stays away, but so far so good, Mr. Schaefer.
So far so good. It's pretty exciting to be here. I have to. Do you mind if I tell a little bit of behind the scenes?
I wish you would.
So folks, get this, right? So there's so many sporting events to cover here, 24 different sports. And this morning, we're divvying up the assignments, and Mark goes, hey, I'm going to go do the 5K. And I'm going, wow, that sounds great. What do I get to do? And he goes, you can go do volleyball. I got to admit, I was a little peeved by that. I go, volleyball? What's the fun in volleyball? You're indoors, you're under the fluorescent lights. Who plays volleyball these days? Boy, was I wrong. Not only was it exciting, it was fun. all of these teams of people in their 50s and 60s were out there not only playing volleyball, these guys were like best buddies. They were smack-talking each other. They were chirping each other. And I'm talking about guys on the same team, Mark. It was so much fun to be around. And they were competitive, but all in a great way, laughing, spiking the ball, flexing their muscles. You can see, look at some of these great plays here. The team you're looking at here is called Cav Buff Rock 50, and that's Buffalo, Rochester. 50 years old, the 50 to 60 age group. They have also a 60 to 70 age group. And there were some guys over 60 in this group. We'll hear from them in a minute. But after this game, this was a really fun match, a tough match. Some very handsome, young, enterprising reporter had the chance to talk to the team right as the match came to an end. Well, it was touch and go there for a while, fellas, but you pulled it out in a big way. Tell me about this team, tell me about the swagger, and tell me what it feels like to be you about now.
Well, playing at 8 o'clock in the morning, we were a little bit slow, as you can imagine. Some of us were late.
So what is life really like over 50?
Who's over 50?
Yeah, there's been no difference.
That was the ringer part.
There's been no difference.
It's like 20-year-old inside, 50-year-old bodies. We're good. Everyone goes to the gym. Everybody works out, and we're gonna play till 75. At least this guy said he is.
As long as we're playing volleyball, it's keeping us in shape.
Right. Yeah.
It's the best exercise, I think.
What does it mean to you guys to be able to do this?
It means I'm young. If when I don't play for a a while, then I start to feel old, right? You start to rust, and you got to get things moving. Yeah,
it's just a number. And this is a lifetime sport. You can play this. You got 79 to 80s playing.
Yeah, and we're the babies out here today. Right?
we do have to throw this out here. Our setter here, Stan. What was it? 3 years ago, we had to miss the Empires or the Fort Lauderdale games. He had open heart surgery, and he's back. He's back today playing with us.
61.
Oh, yeah.
61. Show your scar.
61 years old, playing in the 50-year-old division.
What do these guys mean to you?
Oh, my buddy.
That is awesome. That's so great. And even better than the volleyball players was that reporter. Wow, I almost teared up listening to those hard-hitting, very intelligent questions. But to be honest, what did you think of those?
Well, when you described how they got along and they played, I don't know who was the first person to say this quote. Many people have taken credit for it. I do think it was George Bernard Shaw, but he said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. And, I was always an individual sport guy. You were always a team guy. There is something about being on a team that when you have to leave it, you want to get back to it. There's energy.
We say all the time, Mark, the best thing about hockey, which was my sport, is the locker room.
Yeah.
It's what happens before the game, during the game, the things you say to each other on the bench, the places you go when the game is over.
And this is why this movement is exploding, because you see it. It now makes you want to get back in and do something. It makes me want to play volleyball, and I'm not a volleyball player.
What you folks think? Doesn't it look like fun? Wouldn't you like to hang out with those guys? They're welcoming, they're open, and they support each other when they really need it. I want to show you some video now of that one guy that showed you his scar. His story, Mark, was unbelievable. The guy is 61 now, and he's playing in the 50 to 59 age group. He weighed 160 pounds. He watched what he ate. He was always athletic. Started feeling a little tired and sluggish. His teammates urged him to go to the doctor. Doctor told him, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. But the feeling kept persisting. So he went to a cardiologist, and the cardiologist told him if he wasn't in shape, he'd be dead. He had almost a total blockage in his heart. But because he's athletic, his heart found another way to get the blood around. He still had to have heart surgery. He was in for 6 hours, almost immediately, scared to death. But he said when he came through, he was able to recover quicker, his doctor told him, because he was already in great shape. He was confident in himself. His teammates were there. His teammates were there to tell him there was a space on the team for him when he got back. That happened when he was 57. The video you saw was him today, 61 years old. He says he feels like his old self again, never felt better, just looking forward in life, not looking back.
And, folks, this is the excitement that we have because, we do, truth be told, we start each day knowing a story or two that we want to cover. But no more than that, because we know this is a guy you just bumped into. This was not on our editorial calendar of find this guy. everybody's got these kinds of stories. We're all amazed by them, but when you talk to these older athletes who just keep on keeping on, you realize they've all overcome something.
Yeah, how pervasive is that? Let's put it this way. The team they were playing against was called the Bad Knees Bears. Look, folks, I do the same thing. Oh, I got a bad knee, I got a bad back, so maybe athletics isn't for me.
Yeah, many times.
All of these people have aches and pains. All of them have challenges. They just find a way to push through because pushing through makes those pains less, and it makes them feel better about themselves and about life.
Yeah, trite but true. It's difficult to get started, one step at a time, but once you do get started, there is momentum in whatever it is. And ultimately, as we've learned from all of these athletes, it not only gets easy, it gets fun. It gets addictive in the best sense of the word. It's hard to stop doing things that are good for your body. And I know people are interested how they can get involved, Bill. So let's talk about very quickly about the 2023 National Senior Games.
Games continue on.
Do you know where they are?
Well, they're not in Fort Lauderdale because it changes every year, right?
It changes, well, every 2 years, but they're back-to-back this year because of the pandemic. But it's going from Fort Lauderdale to a city that has hosted it once before. 10 years ago, Pittsburgh hosted the National Senior Games, one of the greatest National Senior Games ever because Pittsburgh, as you know,
one of the greatest cities ever.
Oh, my gosh, they can put on a party. And if it has anything to do with sports, they're into it. They're going to make these senior athletes feel really, really good. Pittsburgh 2023 is something you should check into. In fact, watch this.
The word is out. Pittsburgh is a must-see travel destination. Plan a visit and you'll quickly find what makes our city so special. The experiences and attractions you'll find only in Pittsburgh.
That's right. Experiences like the Heinz History Center,
the Andy Warhol Museum,
or the August Wilson African American Cultural Center,
Bicycle Heaven, Carnegie Museums of Art and Natural History,
the National Aviary, the Mattress Factory for Contemporary Art,
our many parks and green spaces. The list goes on.
Take a ride on one of our 2 iconic and historical inclines to Mount Washington, where you can pair a delicious meal with incredible views at one of the many restaurants that line Grandview Avenue.
And be sure to head into a few of our 90 unique neighborhoods for local flavors.
Like a Permanente Brothers sandwich,
handmade pierogies,
or a Pittsburgh salad piled high with fresh cut fries.
Visit the Western Pennsylvania Sports Museum or the Roberto Clemente Museum.
And be sure to check out a few of our only in Pittsburgh breweries.
Pick up a Pittsburgh brewery guide to help you build your ideal brewery tour.
And that's just a start.
Yes, all this and much more, only in Pittsburgh. See you soon.
Bill Schaefer here doing something I haven't done since I was in college, hanging out in Fort Lauderdale Beach. Only this time, instead of looking for trouble, I'm looking for inspiration. We're looking for hope. We're looking for the things that can change a life. And I'm here with Mark Middleton right now because you were out at the track today, and that's exactly what you found.
You know, remember in Albuquerque, the Shmoo Crew?
The Shmoo Crew. Who could forget the Shmoo Crew?
In Mesa years ago, we saw Ann's fans. Today, I met Team Whitt. And let me tell you, folks, this was three generations of a single family that came from all over the country to celebrate their 81-year-old patriarch of the family. Ellis Whitt is his name. He ran the 5K this morning, and it was so heartwarming to see the love of this family. He came down from North Carolina, and as I said, his family came from all over. And so what did they learn from Ellis? Listen to this.
Keep moving forward. Move forward, and don't let things hold you back and hold you down, and keep moving forward and exploring and experiencing life. And life is beautiful on its own, and that's where you'll reap your rewards.
When you see him and when you learn from his example, what does it make you think about growing older?
I guess that just because you grow older doesn't mean you're a lot more limited. I guess you can still do a lot of the stuff just because he started when he was younger. So that means he's more able to do the stuff when he's older. So I guess I want to do that.
I can't tell you how touched I am to have this many family members and friends here. It's going to be totaling, according to my count, 14 people here. And my whole family's coming, and I'm so blessed and touched to be able to do this, but to have this many loving family members and friends, it's just really special to me.
Ellis ran a great race, and as you can see, he was celebrated by his family. And, after Jason and I were done talking to him very briefly, one of his very proud family members said, oh, by the way, he helped put a man on the moon. So I went back to our little headquarters at the convention center and Googled him, and sure enough, he lived in Huntsville, Alabama, worked for the U.S. Department of Defense as a scientist and an engineer, and he was instrumental in the Apollo program, which, of course, is the one that put the man on the moon. So, it's just fun what you learn about these people. But, Bill, I got to tell you, I could have just sat around and watched the way this family interacted, the way they loved one another, the way they were proud of one another, the way they were celebrating their 81-year-old grandfather, and the way they were learning from him.
Yeah, you know what? You just hit the nail on the head. I bet they think that they were here supporting him. But what was happening is by being here and seeing what he's doing at the age of 81, they're seeing what's possible in their own life. They're seeing the benefit of being active, of being social, of being fit. And who knows, he may be leaving them the greatest gift of all, the gift of good health.
We say this all the time. We're not really telling these stories for 80 and 90-year-olds. If 80 and 90-year-olds see this and get inspired, we could not be happier, because it truly is never too late to get going. But it's that 12-year-old girl today. It's the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds in the audience that see this and see what's possible when you're 80 and 90. You can still travel. You can still get socially engaged with a multi-generational, diverse community of people who love you and want to support you. And it's something to aspire to and work for.
And it's so many sports. You don't have to be like a track star. You don't have to be a basketball player. You could even play a goofy sport like, people say pickleball, and it makes other people laugh because we don't really understand how cool and how important a game it really can be.
We're going to talk about pickleball coming up, I think. Are we getting ready to take a break? We will be back and talk about pickleball. We're going to introduce you to a couple of pickleball players that I know will inspire you, guaranteed. Stick around.
Hey everybody, Bill Schaefer standing here on Fort Lauderdale Beach at the National Senior Games. Are you enjoying what you're seeing here? Please leave a comment on the side and let us know what kind of things you like. What is it that you've seen that inspires you? What do you do to stay in shape, to mentally keep the days passing by and growing bolder and living a fulfilling life? Mark Middleton is here with me now, and the answer for a lot of people, Mark, that we have met, say, in the villages and beyond, is the sport of pickleball, probably one of the most misunderstood sports of all.
And as we've mentioned many times, the fastest growing sport in America, and most folks say soon will be the fastest growing sport in the world. What's interesting about it, it was really invented by a guy for his grandchildren to play. It was truly adopted at scale by older adults, but now it's become a sport that's exploding with 20 and 30 and 40 and 50-year-olds. And the National Senior Games starts day one with pickleball, and we've been hanging out watching some great pickleball players. In fact, I want to show you some of them. This is Joyce Jones. She's 92 years old. Her partner is 91 years old. They've been playing matches with other women their same age, and Joyce is, just a hoot. She loves playing so much. She loves these annual reunions so much that she does whatever is necessary to keep herself in good shape. And I got to tell you, folks, does she ever draw a crowd of admirers who are inspired by every shot, by every action that she takes? Listen to this.
I've been competing for about 50, 60 years in all these tournaments, pickleball, badminton, tennis, and I love seeing all the friends that I've made over the years and love making new friends, and I love the competition. I've had 21 surgeries in my life, and I don't want any more, but if I have to have something to be able to get back out on the court, then it'll be done.
You see them, and they're an inspiration. You know that they did it, I can do it too. There's a lot of work to it, but we can all do it if we try.
I don't think you can really see from those from that video, but they play pickleball inside one of the largest rooms in this Broward County Convention Center, as big as I think 4 or 5 football fields, maybe 30, 40 courts going on at the same time. And every time we walk in from the back door, I immediately look to see which game is drawing the biggest gallery. And then I go there to see what all the excitement is about. And almost without exception, the game that I'm always drawn to, the one that has the biggest gallery, is the game that has these 90-year-old men and women playing pickleball, inspiring all who see them.
And it's not just the 90-year-olds. We met some 50-year-olds who really come at it with with some smack talking, and some chirping and some real attitude, because it's a very fast game. You don't have to run all over creation like you do in tennis, so you can play it at a high level, and it is exciting even to watch.
And you can play it well enough immediately on day one to have a good time, and I think that's really the key to it. In fact, we're talking to the organizers of this event now. As soon as the pickleball is over, but yet the courts remain and the equipment is available, we're going to see if we can get a little Team GB pickleball tournament going.
Oh, bring on any other...
Oh, man, I'm going to trash talk with you.
Bring on any other media outlet here, and we'll show them how to pickle.
So we got some feedback, some questions, some comments from somebody. What do we got?
Folks, as I said before, if you're watching this, go ahead and leave us a comment, because we love hearing what you have to say. In fact, we have a question of the day every single day that we're here that all of the athletes that are at the games can fill out the answer to, and they put it up on our special board. But I want you to do the same thing with today's question. And today's question was a simple one. It's, how are you growing bolder? So think about that for a second. Maybe for you it's not athletics. Maybe for you it's taking vacations, it's learning a language, it's playing a musical instrument, it's traveling. How are you growing bolder? Go ahead and let us know right there in the comments. Now, some of the people that are here today, they had a wide variety of answers. One woman wrote that she had not been in a swimming pool for 45 years competitively. When she got back in, she said it changed her life. It opened her world, changed her body, changed her outlook, changed everything, which is one of the best things that athletics offers, with one of the best things that your passions offer. So that's a great example of what some of the athletes here have to say. So go ahead and let us know for what you had. In fact, Cindy Steinhardt, our friend, said to her, growing bolder is starting life anew after losing her spouse. So there are ways that we all band together through challenges and through our favorite things in life to boldly move where we've never been before.
Love it. Check us out on Facebook. We'll continue to post photos, comments, all sorts of great stuff from here in Fort Lauderdale. And we'll be back tomorrow afternoon about 5 o'clock for another live show. What do you say, Bill? We just go take a walk to the beach.
I'll walk to the beach. I'm going to run to the car because did you see the sky over there?
Well,
typical Florida. Beautiful and sunny. Behind us, ominous and rain-filled behind us.
We held it off.
You want to go this way?
I'm going to go this way. You go that way.
Let's go this
All
way.
right, let's go this way.
Let's go this way.
We'll see you guys.
So long.